And welcome to Government Business Today. I am your host, Hughes, and guess what, guys? We are doing a special edition where we're going to look at the year-end review for 2022. Now, if you're watching us live here on the podcast, or if you're watching us through social media, whatever your favorite social media platform is, you'll see this handsome devil on the podcast with us. And so I'm really excited to have Mr. Michael Calais Sr., who is going to join us here in a minute on the show. And I wanted to take a moment to say thank you to all of our guests who have joined us here on Government Business Today throughout 2022. And also to announce to you guys that we are coming back live for season 2 in 2023. So make sure you mark your calendars for January 19th on Thursday, 2023. And we are going to come back live. We'll still be on our same time slot at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 o'clock Central. So make sure you mark your calendars for that. We've got a great lineup coming up here in 2023. And so I want you guys to make sure that you are tuned in for that. So keep an eye out on your social media. We'll be posting some more things out there to keep you updated. Also, I want to thank all of you who have joined our loyal listener club. And for those of you who have reached out to us to get your free consultations for each of your government businesses. And as you guys know, if you're new to our podcast here at Government Business Today, each week we come to you live and on your favorite social media platform to give you tools, tips, strategies, connect you to resources and people to help you expand your network to grow your government contracting business. Now, I want to say also that, in reviewing the year in 2022, guys, we have to apply some lessons learned here coming into 2023, right? And I want to share with you a couple of those lessons learned. Many of you guys are coming out of the pandemic right now, coming out of the pandemic period. And I want you guys to know that this year in 2023, I want you to know that it is about you getting your business back in the game. I know some of you guys have shared with me that you've suffered some pretty serious losses. Some of you, believe it or not, have even been able to make adjustments in your business model and actually had your business grow during the pandemic. And for those of you who are in that fortunate few, congratulations to you. Now, I want to share this. One of the bullet points for lessons learned is that, guys, you have to make sure that you adjust your business when it's time for you to do that. Oftentimes, people in government contracting can get married to a specific type of business model. And I just want to encourage each of you guys that one of the things that we learned in 2022 is that if you are in a business model that does not generate the kind of revenue and profits that you want and need to live well, guess what? You got work to do. You've got to make those adjustments so that you can be more effective at competing in the government marketplace. Having said that, how do you compete in the government marketplace and how do you become more effective at that? Well, one of the ways you do that is through your network. And when I say network, I'm talking about your network of relationships. Hence the reason why we have our author on with us today, Mr. Mike Calais, who is going to share with you some information. We're going to have some open conversation about his new book, Concrete Connections. And let me tell you what, I love the title, Concrete Connections, because folks, if you're a government contractor, you have to be able to be effective at forming and maintaining concrete connections to run your business. And it's not just for those of you who are government contractors. I'm talking about any industry, any profession that you might be in, folks. Business is a team sport. And the minute that you're unwilling or unable to be able to form that network, boy, you got trouble. That is going to slow your growth. And so anyway, I want to make sure that you guys help me in welcoming our guest to the show, Mr. Mike Calais. Mike, how are you?
I am great, and congratulations for making this one calendar year. It's about to be 2023, and everybody's excited. So now let's talk about these relationships. Let's talk about the concrete relationships that you make, whether they're loosely affiliated or strongly bonded, whether it's business or education. Everything requires a team sport. Everybody has to be on the same page. And the more you spend time with people, you understand that these bonds will create a forward moving ripple effect. And you will find yourself meeting and being in different situations all the time. So, just like you said before, earlier today, we have to play a team sport. And when we get into these different spaces, we find ourselves creating these connections. Like, for instance, me, a guy named Chip Baker, who I really, really appreciate, who pulled me in back into being this creative person that I've been, and Mr. Charles Woods, who is going to head the book. We got a lot of decision makers. We have a lot of guys that got together, women and men, who have strong personalities, and they have great perspectives on the way we deal with our relationships and how we deal with corporate relationships, or how we deal with educational relationships, and all the things that we put into solidifying these things.
Mike, I've got to jump in right here because I'm thrilled that you guys have collaborated to put something like this, and I'm going to call it, yeah, and you call it a book, but I'm going to call it a resource.
Yes.
For business people and industry professionals to be able to get access to some steps, some philosophies, if you will, on how to build these relationships. But before we go any farther, guys, I don't want to sell short the credentials of this particular author. And so I'm going to read this to you because I don't want to miss anything, because I want you guys to get this. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do here, those of you who have been on the podcast before, I'm a product of the University of Houston's Bauer College School of Business. But I'm going to forgive our guest today because he is a graduate of Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge.
Yes, go Tigers.
And so listen to this, guys. I'm just going to read this to you. So Mr. Calais received his graduate degree, a master's in education at Lamar University, the author of Conceived in Chaos. So, guys, this is his second book. Okay. 17-year educator, community and athletically driven. Mr. Calais is a former athlete and coach. Used his platform to inspire youth to be the best version of themselves. How cool is that? So Michael has concentrated his efforts in the fields of special education, career and technology, alternative education, behavior programs, consulting in areas of oil and gas. So guys, if you look him up on social media, you're going to see his oil and gas background. Now, those of you guys who know, here on Government Business Today, I'm based in Houston. Mr. Calais is based here in South Texas as well. And I'm going to tell you, for those of you who are around the country, it's extremely difficult to live in our area and not be touched by the energy industry in some way, shape, or form. He's currently a member of the Cleveland, Texas Chamber of Commerce, a member of the Prince Hall Masonic Lodge, and a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Yes, I said it. All right. So I wanted to put that out there. Hence the whole red, vest going on there.
Yes, sir.
So I wanted to just interrupt right there, Mike.
J5 is coming soon. Just wanted everybody to know.
All right, fair enough. And I just wanted to put it out there, man, that the credentials that you have. I want our audience to understand where you're coming from, man, because oftentimes people who write books, especially where they write a book about themselves, kind of a biopic, if you will, or if they're even in a collaboration, Mike, the credibility that you've built over your career is nothing short of stellar, man. So I wanted to make sure we put that out there for people to understand.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. My big thing is when we be ourselves and we be the best version of ourselves, we find ourselves bringing people together. And not just people, but quality people, which makes a quality critical mass. And we can move that positivity forward. If we can all understand that we're all here on this little blue marble and understand that we all have to have a part to play. No one sits on the sideline. If you're on the sideline, teach them how to do sit-ups.
Yeah, that's great.
But we dabble in Team Calais. We dabble in commercial real estate. We want to make sure that we have our little footprint and just a little bit of everything so that we can get our message out. And our message is it's not just team me, it's team we. And
Yeah, that's good.
Forward.
That's good. So tell us, Mike. So what actually motivated you to even collaborate in a book like this?
It's almost like it was the perfect storm, Irv. It was me connecting with someone in athletics, which poured over into one of my good friends for years and years and years. And he has been on fire with his third book of collaborations, Chip Baker. And I'm telling you, this guy right here, he'll sell iced Eskimos because he's so genuine with everything he does. And so of course, like-minded people do like-minded things. And we all got together and said, let's collaborate. Let's connect this work world with this education world and let everybody understand that all these affiliations are pretty much the same. As long as we have strategies to move all of our guys forward, all of our networking partners forward to do positive things. And that's what the main vein that runs through everything that we do here.
So, Mike, you hit on something I want to kind of drill down on, and that is strategies. I think a lot of people kind of glaze over the idea about forming relationships and maintaining relationships, building, as you say, concrete relationships, strong relationships. Really doesn't happen kind of haphazardly, right? There needs to be steps involved. There needs to be some strategy involved in that. And I don't mean that in a way where somebody is trying to get over on somebody or something like that. What I mean is that, at least in my mind, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because I certainly hadn't written a book on this, but to me, a strategy to build strong relationships really has more to do with value. In other words, how can I bring value to somebody else such that now this relationship can be formed? And you can correct me if I'm off base there.
No, you just got right into the starting blocks, and we're getting ready to take off now, because that's exactly where it starts. But it starts with you needing to know who you are first and your own worth. Because as your worth goes, now you feel that you're strong enough, or you're talented enough to give whatever it is that you're looking for that person to receive. So when you were talking about it earlier, just like you said, it was a great question, and how you started it was, here it is. I want to bring value to the situation, whether it's to the company or to the conversation or to the academic read, whatever it is. Who am I? Am I genuine with the actions that I'm going to take from this point on? And then from that point, you are creating your own concrete connection with whoever in the room feels that same connection, because we're all here to give. It's a give situation. You're giving your time while they're giving information. There's no take in it. You're receiving something. So that's the way I feel we approach this book, at least from my perspective. It's all intertwined. So
that's good. So look, let's talk about what are some of the kinds of things that people can expect to see or learn in the book.
Like I said, with all of the personalities, you're going to find one thin strand, and that's going to be that every single one will have gratitude running through their experiences. Me personally, my experience was having to find a mentor that had the same qualities that you envisioned in yourself. And then from there, becoming a mentor, then transitioning back into a mentor's mentee, because at the end of the day, you're always a lifelong learner.
It's interesting you talk about that because I happen to know, being a sports fan myself, that you have an athletic background, a background in athletics, and you know, I love the idea that you're talking about this in the book, because one thing that I did learn, and I learned the hard way, frankly, is that there's no such thing as a world champion in any industry or sport that doesn't have a coach.
Yes.
Everybody has a coach. You have to have somebody, I think, who has your best interest in mind, where your philosophies and values align, right? And then somebody who can be honest with you, no matter how incredibly painful or inconvenient it might be. And I wanted to ask you, how do you see people forming relationships? Because over time, relationships can get tense. Relationships can be, in this day and time now, it is so much tension out there. And I think the launch of this kind of book is so timely to talk about forming those relationships and building those networks. So, how would you approach somebody who is really struggling in this area with building their network or putting themselves out there? Or maybe they have a relationship now where the relationship has kind of morphed over time, and now there's tension in the relationship. How do they resolve that?
Well, since we're exiting the back door of this COVID thing, and everybody has found themselves to dull their cornerstones and their corner edges of their emotional intelligence, it's time for everybody to just quit taking it personal. Everybody needs to just press pause for a second and understand that the most important person in any equation is you. That's the first thing you have to do. You have to sit down and control your emotional intelligence. Don't just lash out. That person may be going through something that you really don't know he or she's going through. But as for us and the book, and this timely time to get it out, is we need to, I'm sorry about that. We need to, as groups, understand that we in this country have to move forward and have a strong identity. And it's personal to me, because I know that my son, and in this government space that we're speaking, I know that my son, who's at the Naval Academy in Annapolis right now studying, I know that I have no qualms that he is in harm's way right now, just because of the atmosphere. So when I say concrete connections, when I say that, I put all of these in a tapestry, and understand that, when it comes to my relationships with my children and my wife, I have a certain base non-negotiables. And that should be with anything that you do, and when you start forming your relationships, because the one thing that people really want to know about you is, are you going to still be that same person tomorrow?
Wow. That's huge right there, because, it reminded me, years ago, there was this movie where this guy is talking about that certain instances in life is like a box of chocolates, and you never know what you're going to get. Right? And the thing is that in forming these kinds of relationships, people do need to know what they're going to get, because I think it tends to, like you were talking about earlier, man, is that, you need to be who you are, right?
Yeah.
And because if you're trying to be something else or somebody else for somebody else, or you got, situational ethics going on, that all of that stuff breeds distrust, right? Yes. And so I don't know how relationships can be sustainable if trust is not developed and nurtured over time. And it's the same thing, believe it or not, with government contracting. The relationships that I've been blessed to to have formed in and around government over these many years, and especially being in finance, it's really, really interesting that the relationships that have been formed and the trust that's been developed over these many years has been really, really valuable, not only to me, but to the agencies that I work with as well. And this is one of the points that I want to put out to our audience, guys, is that, here in the next year, the next 2 years, 5 years, whatever your goals are, make sure that you take to heart, you want to get this reference material, you want to get this book, and lay a foundation for yourself, because oftentimes when you're a government contractor, you feel like you're selling to a government agency, right? You're trying to get a contract with the agency. But at the end of the day, you're interacting with a procurement officer, a contracting officer, you're interacting with a buyer, and those buyers have to get comfortable with taking the risk. Yes, I said it, folks, the risk in buying from you. Because in government is very, very unforgiving. If they buy something from you, they're expecting you to deliver it. They're expecting you to deliver it on time. And guess what? If something bad happens, they're expecting you to own that thing. And the minute that any of those things doesn't happen, boy, it's really tough to, or near impossible, believe it or not, to recover from that. And so this is why I want to encourage our audience and all of you guys who are listening, whether you're, however you're listening to it and getting our podcast, to make sure that you dig into this and reach out and make sure that you can get your questions answered, because I'm understanding that the book is going to launch here soon.
Yes, it'll be launching on the 7th.
So it's going to be January 7th.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now I can't let you go now that we've broken the eggs over here and said that the book is fixing to launch. Now, how do people, where should they be looking about the launch to get information about the launch, and when is the book available? What are going to be steps for them?
Well, you can check the Facebook page right now. Someone is manning the Facebook page right now, so she'll be putting down all of the information on the launch party, and there'll be invites if you'd like to be a part of it. We're going to have all of the great authors there. We're going to have a great time. Hey, Chip. Hey, Charles. Look forward to it, guys. Hey, this is going to be great. I'm looking so forward to it. Let's go and go get it, both of you guys.
Hey, that's fantastic, man. Well, I'm really happy that you guys are posting this on social media so that thing can spread, right?
Yes.
And so Mike, I got to tell you now, with the time we have left, man, I heard you mention something about you have somebody in your family, son, that is at Annapolis, the Naval Academy right now. So I will not let you off without you telling us more about that, because I know that there are some parents out here who would love to have one of their children to actually get into any one of the academies around the country.
It is amazing. And of course, like we said before, if it's up to mom, she said, yeah, it was all her, of course. But at the end of the day, you got to be so proud of him. I mean, he's in his second year over at the Naval Academy. He is doing extremely well. He's in quantitative economics, and he's in intelligence. He rows crew. Yeah, he does that, and there's no time at all, he says, but he finds a way to get everything done, and I'm so proud of him. Like I said, he is serving our country, and just like we all are, service for our country. But like I said, I'm just proud of him, and we're just moving along. I'll say go Navy. My wife will say go Army. She's ex-military also.
Oh, I see.
There's a fight in the house all the time, but hey, at least we know the house will be protected in the front and the rear.
Boy, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? No, that's fantastic, man. So listen. So, what are some takeaways that you can give to our audience, maybe some bullet points, maybe 3 or 4 things that have really stuck out in your mind as during the course of your career? Because, like I said, you've crossed several different industries, so you're a multi-talented guy. And so take a moment or two and share some bullet points with our audience, some things, maybe some lessons that you've learned, since we're talking about, the year in review 2022, maybe some things that were aha moments for you during the past year. Take a moment and share some of that.
Okay, year in review. That's the best thing. It's in the rear view. So, of course, everybody's made mistakes, but that's number one. My first takeaway is don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Wow.
Making mistakes make you learn. I mean, I assume try to make them as small as possible, but they make you learn, and then you move on to the next mistake that you're going to make. So, and the more mistakes you make, the more you're further down the road. Another thing I like to take away is, sit down and set your goals. Make some goals. Just make a list of goals and just every day, just put it on your mirror, look at it. Now, I'm not saying go out and lose 150 pounds in a month. I'm not saying that kind of goal. I'm saying just a goal that to be a good person every day, to figure out exactly what builds your character. Okay. That's another one. And then, and lastly, I have to say one thing. Been an engineer, I've been an educator, I've been a coach, I've been everything that I could actually want to be. But I can promise you this, the biggest title in my life that I've ever had was dad. Because It encompasses everything. It encompasses every relationship that you're going to have to build throughout your life, in your work life and in your family life. You're going to have to be steadfast. You're going to have to make foundational decisions that may not be, it may not be ones that they may want or not, but it's those things that you have to stand fast on. So I don't want to keep you, but like I said before, Happy New Year. We're looking so forward to this year. Concrete Connections, go look for it. It's going to be everywhere. It'll be on my Facebook. It'll be on everybody's Facebook. If you hadn't had a chance, Conceived in Chaos. It's a gritty coming to life story about some things that really you need to reflect on in order for you guys to understand how it is in our vast kaleidoscope from one end to the other of this great United States of ours and our social makeup here. But thank you for having me on the platform, and thank you guys so much.
Man, I appreciate you joining us, man. This is really good on this special edition, and I'm glad you mentioned Conceived in Chaos. Guys, if you have not had the opportunity to get the book Conceived in Chaos, please get the opportunity to read that. It will inspire you, especially having had our author and good friend Mike Calais on the podcast with us. I think it will help you understand that some of the excuses, I'll call them excuses, that we use to fail in life are invalid. Because I can personally tell you that I've read the book. That's why I'm excited about the new book coming out. This is a fantastic young author. Yes, I said young, Mr. Calais. I did. But and you guys will really, really benefit. I think it will touch you in a special way. So, yeah, I absolutely. Conceiving Chaos. You want to get that anywhere your favorite books or
Amazon online. You can get it anywhere.
All right, you can get it. You can get it anywhere, and I'm really, really excited that you have decided to allow us to have you on our show to help you launch your new book. And guys, those of you who are listeners and audiences of Government Business Today, get the book. Okay, you're going to need to form some really good concrete relationships in the government space, and you want to have some resource material to help you go about doing that. And so until next time, yes, Mike, we're going to have you absolutely back on the show here in Q1. So be on the lookout for that. Guys, again, thanks so much for the time and attention, and we will see you all on next time. Till next time, We'll talk to you soon.